In this lesson, I'll show you how to add a custom generic test that you can add to your project. Obviously, the out-of-the-box ones cover a lot of them. You could also use packages to use some of their tests that they have to cover a lot of scenarios. But sometimes there's more specific scenarios that you need to cover on a more generic level. So how would you add that? Well, we can add these under macros. And what we'll do is add a new file. And ultimately what we'll do with this in this scenario is we have this year joined field. And what I want to do is create a custom test that just validates that it's a valid year. Nothing crazy, but just say, okay, is the year here good? Does it hit a certain threshold? And we can add it as a test. So again, we'll do macros, new file. I'll prefix this, we prefix it with test is valid Avenger year.sql. And I'm going to copy and paste this in here. And really what's important here ultimately is the fact, just like a macro that starts with the word macro, we have a block that starts with the word test, because when DBT runs and compiles, it's going to parse your project and look for these and understand that what you're doing here is not a macro. It should be considered like a test so that you can use it that way. And I've copied and pasted a lot of this from generic tests, but ultimately it'll function the same way. It's going to take a model and a column. I'm aliasing the column a certain way just for the sake of this test. So this first CTE is just grabbing that information. And then the validation error is essentially saying, see if there's anywhere the year is less than 1900, because we're expecting everything to be greater than 1900. So in this case, we're testing this. And if something comes up and there is some sort of result, it would fail. So that's what this test does. And let's see how we can add this now to a schema as a test. Put this over here. And like I said, we're going to do the year joined back to the schema.yaml. We'll add another column for year joined tests. And this time, instead of using the default ones that are built behind the scenes, all we have to do is add this here and it will work. So we will run dbt test, and we would expect it to not only run these other ones, but run this one. We can see now there's 4. And where is it? Right here. History joined, it ran, it passed. So just like that, we were able to add a custom generic test and implement it into one of our schemas that we used here, but we could use it anywhere else we wanted to in our project.